So hi everyone, I hope you really enjoyed watching my video in the show reel. It was really important to me to be able to share what I've been doing in my project, as I really want to raise awareness of what plastic waste is doing to turtles. And it doesn't only just affect turtles, but all animals, both on land and in the sea. So the image I'm using as my background is a vulnerable and endangered juvenile loggerhead sea turtle. Don't know if you can see it. So turtles are a really huge danger from us as both predators, causes of climate change, and consumers of plastic. So all of the masks that you saw in my video and which I made my turtles from were collected and littered around my local area. So it's really shocking to see just how many there were. So I then transformed each mask into a turtle using just one mask to make one turtle, which utilised the 3 layers and the wire. And I'd love to show you how I made the turtles in this workshop. So I hope you can join in with me throughout this process and remember what I do to make your own turtle later on. I'll also be in the next 2 episodes.
Oh, we've lost you, Farrah. You've frozen there. Okay, don't know what's happened there to Farrah. Just hold on a little while longer and then perhaps we need to move on. And she's coming back again. Okay.
I don't know where I went then.
Okay, great. Thank goodness you're back.
Did you see any of that? Or
I didn't see. You were just about to start potentially getting the
right,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so I'll just show you the turtle again. So using the mask to make the turtles, it kind of seemed to intensify the meaning of what I'm doing. Kind of became like an ironic twist in my project, which is kind of like instead of the mask destroying the turtle, the mask started to become the turtle itself. So the first step of making these turtles is to get a disposable mask. So I've got one with me here, and you just need to cut down the sides of it to get rid of the elastics and to kind of like stretch it out so it's not pleated anymore. So I'll just do that now.
Lift it up a bit, Farrah, if you can. I wonder if anyone's making one with you. Perhaps they could put their hand up if they are. Don't know if anyone came prepared. If not, you can come prepared tomorrow.
Well, it kind of starts in tomorrow's workshop. At the moment, I'm just going to cut out the shape and kind of like show how to draw it. In the next one, I'll be stitching and sort of stuffing it. So then you need to use your mask and kind of draw the shape of a turtle. I mean, you use kind of like an oval shape for the body, sort of just 2 little squares for the back legs and 1 big oval for the head, and then 2 little arm shapes. You can use my turtle for inspiration if you want in the background. So I'll just do this in a Sharpie pen so you can see it quite quickly. So that's just the body and the head shape. So kind of like basically utilising the mask and getting as much as it off you can, making it as big as you can without coming off the sides of the mask. So I'll just do the leg. So these are the 2 legs on the side. So they're the arms. And then just 2 sort of smaller circly square type shapes for the back legs. So hopefully you can see it without disappearing into the background. There we go. And then just cut that out. I can do it now just to show. So I hope that the first session was enjoyable. I mean, it's just kind of cutting out the shape and drawing it. It's quite simple. I wouldn't worry too much about getting it perfect, because when you stitch it, it kind of tends to cover up a lot of mistakes anyway you might have made, like regarding symmetry or anything like that. So just use this. And in preparation for the next workshop, you could start to think about maybe the shell of the turtle, the design, because that's kind of like the most fun part, to kind of stitch a design onto this like oval shape. You can maybe just do, I usually tend to do like 4 hexagons down the middle, and like join them at the sides. But you could do anything. You could be really creative with it. You could even paint onto it. Yeah, you could paint. Painting's really fun. We did that in a workshop last semester. So yeah, just kind of be creative with that. So in case you're not coming to the next episodes, I'll put instructions on how to make these turtles onto my blog. So you can still carry on if you want to.
Go for it. Thank you.
All right, I'll just introduce it. So in this workshop, I'm going to lead you through the process of stitching the turtle. So in the last episode, I led you through the beginning part of making the turtle from a disposable mask. I'd just like to reiterate why I'm making the turtles from these masks. Every one of these masks that I used, I collected from around my local area. They were all littered on the floor. So I disinfected them and then decided to use them to raise awareness of the effects they have on sea life, specifically the turtle. The masks often end up in the sea. They are not only a choking hazard, but their fins, and often baby turtles, can get tangled up in the elastics. So I decided to use the disposable mask to create the turtles, twisting around the concept so that what usually destroys the animals becomes the animal. I would like to introduce my background before I begin, which is of an endangered green sea turtle. It's a really beautiful, gentle animal. So in this workshop, I'm going to describe the stitching process of making the turtles. I'm just going to share my screen. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to make it bigger. Okay, so in the last episode, I instructed how to draw the turtle shape and cut the turtle out. So you need to make sure to keep everything, even the scraps. This comes in handy to stuff the turtles with later. So you should be on this sort of. So then you need to separate the layers. So you can pull apart the mask, but be really gentle because it can tear. So there's 3 layers in a disposable mask. There's 1 blue plastic layer, 1 white plastic layer, and 1 white paper layer. So you need to separate the blue layer from the white materials. So this is just some turtle shell patterns. So I've included some scientific ones here, but you could just be creative with it. I mean, you could use hexagon shapes, you could paint them on. I choose to stitch them, but you could do anything really that you wanted to do to kind of decorate the turtle bit. That's kind of like the most fun part. I've got one here with me that I've just quickly done. So yeah. So how to stitch it. So this is the bit that's a little bit difficult. So I'm going to show you with this one now. So first of all, make it so it's both sides together. So the white plastic layer and the blue layer that you're going to have facing outwards. So put them together and just pin it in place, or you can just hold it. So you take your needle and thread, and it's called a back stitch. So you'd go in around here. So just leave about 1 centimetre or so. And then just make a simple stitch just along the line. and then you need to come back on yourself. So you put your needle and thread upwards and then go back in the hole that you've just created. So you're basically bringing your stitch back to the end of your last one, and it creates like a running line, which means there's no holes in the turtle at the end when you've stuffed it. So you can just carry on, but you need to make sure that you leave a section at the end. So you could do that to make the turtle pattern, or you could just do it to attach them together. So when you're stitching the layers together, after you've made the pattern, you can attach the wire to the back of this blue plastic area, and it gives the shell sort of a structure. Then, as I said, you can turn the right sides together, so the blue plastic facing the white plastic, and pin it in place. And use the back stitch technique to attach the sides together, ready for stuffing. So you'd repeat the stitching on all the limbs, the head and the body. But it is really important to leave one side open on all the limbs, body and head to be able to stuff them later on. I'll just show you a little bit on the one I'm doing now. So you go in and then out on yourself. And this is the pattern that it can create. It's quite funny, it disappearing and revealing the turtle underneath the background. So yeah. And then in episode 3, I'm going to show you how to stuff the turtle. So make sure you keep all the scraps and everything that you've been using. Great. Okay, so hi everyone. So in this final workshop, I'll lead you through the process of stuffing the turtle body. So in the last episodes, I cut out the turtle shape and began to stitch it. I also discussed the reasons behind making the turtles from disposable masks. It's estimated that 52% of the world's turtles have eaten plastic waste. It's easy to understand why, because how can a turtle tell the difference between a floating plastic bag and a jellyfish? The turtle is one of the world's most ancient animals and is at severe danger from us humans and our obsession with plastic. As a result of the pandemic, the disposable mask has become a new threat to the species, both a choking and a tangling hazard. So my projects aim to raise awareness of this building crisis. I showed a video in episode 1 and had workshops across all episodes. So my background for this episode is an endangered eastern black-bridged leaf turtle. Got lovely eyes, I think. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen. So how to make the stuffing. So if you kept the scraps from your disposable masks that you used to draw the turtle, you can use these now. But if not, you may have to use another mask to stuff the turtle with. So what you do is you kind of cut the mask up into strips and then just cut the strips up into tiny little squares. Then you have to turn the turtle inside out. So the best way to do this, I think, is to use a pair of tweezers and you grab the top part and pull it back through on itself. I'm just going to show you how I do it using the body, which is the easiest part to turn inside out really big. So you just turn it inside out and then you can't see any of the seam. So it's got a nice edge all the way around. There you go. So stuffing a turtle can be really fiddly. I usually use a funnel because it gives me a bit more control. The body's really easy to stuff, but you've got to leave a decent sized area open, like here. It's mostly the limbs that are quite difficult to stuff. So this is the stuffing. I've just got some out here. I'm just going to show you how I stuff it usually. So you can take like a spoon and kind of just like shovel it in. The hardest part to do this with is the limbs because they're so small.
I just keep thinking of Harry doing this. I can't wait to see.
I know. It does take me probably about 2 hours to make each one. But I've had a lot of practice. When I first started doing them, I think it took me about, I don't know, probably about 4 hours or so. So you kind of just get a load of stuffing in and just push it down, and you just keep doing it using the stuffing that you have, really, because you can always just pad it out a bit and make it a little bit flatter depending on how much you want it to be thick. So once each body part's been stuffed, you can stitch some clothes to seal it. I usually just kind of fold it in on itself and just stitch it shut, so holding it like that. Then you need to attach each body part to the main body. It's kind of difficult to do tidily, but because it's being hidden, as you can see with the neck, most of it gets hidden underneath. I mean, I'm quite a neat sewer, but yeah, it is kind of difficult, but it can be done quite easily if you manage to just kind of hook the needle through onto the stitches you've already done. So you kind of like do it like so.
I would have thought, I think when my mum made me a piglet when I was a kid, I'm sure she I'm sure she left holes to then put the arms.
Could do that, yeah. I didn't do it with this because I think the mask is such a difficult material to work with. It can tear so easily, especially the middle layer, which is the paper one. It's just really difficult to use. It's not doing it this way because you're kind of doing each bit on its own, but if I tried to do the first one just using one whole turtle shape and it just didn't work, I had to do it with each limb. And this should be your end result, really. So you've got the lovely turtle shell pattern and the little feet and the fins. So yeah, I hope you've had a go. And feel free to send me any pictures of what you have come up with. It'd be great to see them.
Thanks, Farrah. That's great. So Alec is asking if you've got some finished pieces you could share and that it could be a strong political contemporary piece. Yes, Alec, absolutely it is. So she has a video that she played in part 1. And yeah. Yes, it's very political, isn't it, Farrah? It's activist.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's very activist. I think it's really an important message because it's a real here and now concern. Particularly, people are still wearing these masks, and I think the mask is an accepted part more than like even plastic bottles have become less seen around as these disposable masks now, which is interesting.